everyone. We're Team Athena. My name is Amy Cho. I focus on the dev and the product management.
Hi everyone, I'm Erin Tucci and I did the graphics.
And I'm Yana Kim and I did development.
We also have two other members who couldn't make it today. Geeta Savara, she helped with the use, fleshing out the scripts, use cases, and Ali Shepard, who also helped flesh out a lot of the product design and the use cases. So Athena basically approaches the workplace problem that many of us are very familiar with or have at least witnessed. So in this scenario, we have Ellie. You know, we're all Ellies. You know, one day Ellie decided to just go to work just wearing a skirt. You know, Chad decided to compliment her. In his mind, he thought it was a compliment. Said that, hey, you look very attractive. And she didn't feel comfortable. She said, hey, I really don't feel comfortable about this. Like, put yourself in my shoes. He goes, well, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. I didn't mean any harm. And then on the side, actually, Ben, another coworker, happened to listen in on it a couple of feet away, but he made no remarks. So this we're all probably pretty familiar with this kind of situation. So as we've all been the Ellies, we know that, you know, oftentimes when something happens like that to us, we want to talk to somebody. We want to know, okay, is this situation really resolved? What should I do to go further? Should I go talk to my manager? Should I talk to my HR person? Is this, you know, something to even escalate at all? The person did apologize. So is there something, should I document this? So there's a lot of questions going on in their mind, and there's most likely they're also just going to go to their personal friend, but usually don't do much beyond that. So basically what Athena is the confidant for the workplace. It's basically a third-party organization outside that provides a chatbot where it becomes the first line of engagement. It provides actionable guidance. But Athena isn't just for Ellie and victims similar to Ellie. They're also for Chad, people who, you know, initiate a sort of uncomfortable situation. And sometimes, you know, Chad, you know, in his mind, he was well-meaning, but, you know, maybe he just needs a little bit more training. Maybe he needs to understand maybe what is appropriate thing to say at work. So Athena will also be able to engage Chad to say, hey, you know what, this situation, maybe this could have been said better this way. You know, don't focus on the physical, focus more on the merits of a person. And so, you know, he also needs someone to talk to. So he needs to understand, you know, he has other concerns. Well, should I go to HR? Is Ellie going to go to HR? Should I talk to her? And the chatbot will say, well, you know, if you want to talk to Ellie, that is entirely up to you. But do consider being more empathetic. You know, understand that you may be making her feel more uncomfortable. So those kind of like scenarios and options, the chatbot will bring Chad through those different scenarios. And then there's Ben. Ben is a coworker who overheard the situation. He wants to help, but he doesn't know how to. He doesn't necessarily want to engage with Ellie or Chad in person, but he wants to be able to report that something like this happened. So he can go to Athena, a third-party neutral party, and kind of report this, and to also get guidance about maybe what are some useful language to kind of interject into a situation like that. So this was like the initial prototype screenshot. Erin did a great job of putting this together. So basically, Athena would initiate the conversation. The user would say, you know, what specifically will happen, and then Athena would then go into further detail. Well, for instance, did the person who engaged with you, did this action or that action? It'll go through an entire flow with the person. So we're going to do a demo right now.
While she pulls up the demo too, right now for this hackathon, we decided to focus on sexual harassment within the workplace, but it's going to be just generally for the workplace. So like if you want to learn how to negotiate your salary but aren't sure like how to start that conversation, just so that if someone were to log on to Athena in the workplace, that if someone else were to see it, they won't like, oh, they've been sexually harassed, or oh, they're going to file a claim, so that you can really feel safe about what's going on when you are on the site. So whether you're reporting it or just trying to get other help, so that no one will like simply go like, oh, like they've been sexually harassed, like they're gonna report it. That's my friend Chad over there who said something, I should go tell him, and kind of like set off a whole chain reaction type deal. So
Exactly. So that's why the chatbot always reminds the user that their privacy and their safety is of the utmost importance, and they will engage them asking, do you want to remain anonymous in the session? And the user can say yes or no. And if the user chooses to say yes, then the bot will also ask, well, would you like to provide anonymous information that becomes aggregate data that will then be used potentially as data for other users, so that they can learn that there are more people just like them. So here we have the user saying, yes, I want to remain anonymous. And then the bot goes, thank you for helping me out. Would you like to become anonymous aggregate data? And also, what kind of issue are you dealing with? We say this is in the shoes of Ellie, we would say issue with an employee. Then it'll ask, can you describe the situation? Please be careful, please be detailed. And Ellie would type something like this. And then the chatbot would say, did you express your feelings to your coworker? And Ellie would say, yes. And then did you have a positive outcome? No. And then the chatbot would start engaging her, saying, would you like me to coach you in a more fruitful conversation for the future on how to be able to address your coworker? And of course, Ellie at this point maybe, well, I don't really want to talk to my coworker again directly about this. I already confronted him at the time. So Ellie would then say no. And so then the chatbot would say, did you go to HR? And Ellie said yes. Then the chatbot was, do you have a positive outcome? No. HR ignored it, basically. And then the chatbot would engage her saying, well, would you like me to coach you about having a conversation with HR or like any legal entity outside? And so basically you would like carry on more and more further on to a much longer conversation, and the user can always revisit their case. It will track their case if they so wish. And basically it provides like this first line of engagement where a user like Ellie can feel, get some idea about what to do, have some, and also explore other options. What are her options? What's the data out there? What are her legal options? Oftentimes, there's so many articles out there saying what your rights are, especially a lot of legalese. What the chatbot is hoping to do is to break that all down into consumable pieces where a person can get actionable advice right away. And of course, there's concerns for legal liability with the chatbot, but so of course there are disclaimers for the company saying that, your action is ultimately yours. But the company does work very carefully with legal, and also do a lot of social studies where they look at the data, scraping it, and providing visuals about those data to the user.
And really quickly, down here is where the chat is, and you notice this big open space. That's just because we didn't get to do it for the MVP, but this will slide and show different statistics as the conversation's going along. So if it starts talking about sexual harassment in the workplace, different statistics will start coming up based on whether you're female or male or, whatever the situation may be. And if you're talking about salary negotiation, kind of like how the first group demonstrated in the game, they had that statistic about how women only apply if they have like close to 100%. Something like that would just slide on top, just to kind of show you those things so that you are aware of all the statistics and everything.
So there's a huge long roadmap for something like this, where we want to be able to provide multiple layers of like not only education for both the employee but also the companies as well, and also the aggregate data could then be provided to the HR, so that way they could learn to improve themselves, to go, hey, these numbers are not great, we could do a lot better. But the employee will still remain anonymous, so the HR won't have to call any single person out. And so a lot of the challenges that we dealt with was, well, like Jen and I, we worked with chatbots for the very first time yesterday, and just getting it to deploy was, even though all the tutorials make it seem like it looks really easy, but it's there's always some kinks along the way. And so that took up a lot of the time, and then trying to create like a flow in the conversation too, because natural language processing is so difficult. But this is the kind of the prototype we have, but we had a really fun time doing it.
Awesome. Thank you.